Good morning, hello, how are you? And welcome to another exciting day here at the OGGM Broadcasting Network, broadcasting live from Site B in sunny Southern California. Maybe. It's about 8:20 in the morning and the 13th day of March 2023. And the rush to get Kickstart projects out before Wizards of the Coast releases 2024 Dungeons & Dragons and ignites the next round of the Edition Wars has begun, as we have several Kickstarters that are Gygaxian adjacent coming to an end this week. So let's take a look at them. It's not a lot this week, but obviously the Gygax related stuff stands out for those of you who are of the mindset of how important Gygax is and that his stuff is really great and stuff like that. You know, I think it's been pretty much well established that while I appreciate everything Gary and Dave did to create the hobby, there are people in the hobby who are more important to me than Gary and Dave. But we do appreciate the fact that, they took, Empire of the Petal Throne and these other ideas and, created what we now know as Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons today is no way in shape or form similar to what Gary and Dave wanted to, but don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I probably need more caffeine. Hey, look at this thing. This thing is from our good friend and neighbor, Luke Gygax and Gooey Cube. This is the Tomb of Gygax adventure and campaign setting. It is a Gary Gygax themed homage, tongue-in-cheek mega adventure created by Luke and Gooey to celebrate the 50th anniversary and to celebrate all things his dad and his connection. I had a chance to meet Luke Gygax once, almost, sort of, but it fell through, and then I never heard of anything again. But he does live relatively close. I think he lives in Calabasas, so, who knows? It's still a small world. We might bump into each other. Luke, if you're watching, howdy. This is the Tomb of Gygaxian. Its Kickstarter ends on March 25th. $200 is the most popular pledge for the PDF and print version of both books and the box set. That's just too much. I don't care what the game does. I don't care how much of an homage to your dad it is, unless he wrote it. $200 for a tabletop role-playing game product that I'll probably never use or play, unless it's going to also make me a sandwich and do my laundry, Luke. I'm sorry, no. But if you have $200 and you want to embrace Luke's take on the legacy of his dad, which, are way better than, say, Dungeons & Dragons or anybody else's, but yeah, sure. All right, so what is this? It is a adventure filled with puns and Easter eggs. It is got Gooey Cube stuff related to it. They make, all sorts of weird things. It's got maps and an adventure and 3 books and setting materials and portraits and art and maps and cards. Other than that, it's got great content because Gooey always makes great stuff. It's, obviously might have some stuff that relates to Luke's history. You will run into, characters who are based upon people like Larry Elmore, Attickson, Otis, Helen Cook, David Cook, and more. So there's a lot of NPCs that are Easter egg references to people who have had a place in the history. And of course, there's a lot of references to his family and his dad and his brother, and a lot of Easter eggs and puns based upon a lot of the weird stuff that Gygax made over the years in some of his dungeons. So yeah, this is basically a loving embracement of Luke's legacy with his dad and Luke's legacy with original Dungeons & Dragons and Luke's legacy with 5e. Now, from the other end of the spectrum, we have Trollords Games' Gary Gygax World Builder Archive, which is coming to an end. This ends on April 10. This is a whole bunch of source books. $110 gets you the PDF. They've asked me to back this one, but I'm sorry. That's just $110 for 7 books I'm never going to read and never going to use. I'm sorry, Troll Lords. That's just money I can spend on something more important. I am glad that they somehow got the rights to these and the legacy of these, and they're printing these. And I'm sure there's people out there who think that the stuff Gary Gygax has to say about world building and nation building is amazing. I don't really feel the need for me to personally have these because I've already got multiple books about world building and campaign building and universe building. And, I've read some of these, Living Fantasy, Canting Crew, and Extraordinary Book of Names I've seen those and I was not impressed of them. I mean, the Extraordinary Book of Names is literally 206 pages of names. It's also got a guide to adventure writing, nation builder, cosmos builder, a catalog. His I don't know how much of this is stuff he actually wrote, if these are collections from various articles that he wrote over the years, if this is people taking notes and conversations they've had with him and transferring it to, if I ever actually have that interview with Chuck from Troll Lords, he reached out to me almost a month ago to see if I wanted to interview him. Obviously the top questions would be about the relationship between Troll Lords and Gygax and the legacy of Gygax. And then I'd like to talk about these books and, how much of this is actual Gygax. What is the relationship between Troll Lord games and, the Secrets of Blackmoor people? Do you guys talk to each other? Do you even know each other exists? What does Troll Lord Games think of Luke Gygax? What does Troll Lord Games think of Scott Garrity and all the horrible things he says about them? What is in these products that would make it worth $110? Because to me, yeah. But if you want to read what Gary had to say about these topics and you have that kind of money, then I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people in my circle, a lot of the old schoolers who are Gygaxian fans are really excited to delve deep into Gygax's brain on world building. I've got books on world building. I don't really need another one, and I know I'll never use it. It's $110 that I could spend on something else. Unfortunately, I don't want to, kick Troll Lords down because I have nothing but love and respect for them. But for me personally, I got to go with my guts and say I wouldn't back this, but I know a lot of people who are very excited about this. So God love you for supporting the legacy, the real legacy of Gary Gygax. From Pulp Hummock Press, spelled HUMMOCK, we have Gods of the Forbidden North, Volume 2 for OSR, OGL, D20 Fantasy. This ends on March 28th. It's $29 is the most popular pledge. Gets you the PDF. It's 2 projects and a conversion. Gods of the Forbidden North is about 1,000 pages of underworld beings and gods and demons and things of the Forbidden North, including dungeons and campaign settings and, the population of the people who live in the Forbidden North and their relationship with the supernatural of the Forbidden North. So it presents you with a D20 OSR OGL campaign setting where that, the Forbidden North, icy, scary tundra, Russia, Siberia, Greenland type of thing, and Vikings and gods. Pretty cool. And it's, only $29. From Studio Hermitage, we have Our Brilliant Ruin role-playing game. This is an original new role-playing game. It ends on March 28th. It's $50 for the PDF and the print version. This is elite societies and upstairs, downstairs drama brought low by existential horror. So think Downtown Abbey meets Cthulhu, Munsters and Cordy, Horror and Station, Edwarian era. If Bridgerton, if you're a fan of Bridgerton or Jane Austen or that time period, the Edwardian era England, and then add to that, the I need to be proper, I need to look proper, I need to act proper, I need to marry off my daughters. Everything's about station and wealth and proper and yes, blah, 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 blah. He may be the king, but does he have 10,000 pounds in his bank account? I think not. And combine that with, oh my God, it just ripped Mary's face off. And you have Our Brilliant Ruin role-playing game. So if that is an itch that you've always wanted to scratch, there you go. From Luck of the Harder, we have Rengard. That is a dragon writing based tabletop role-playing game. It's a brand new system. It's $35, PDF and print. You're a dragon rider. You defend humanity that soars between floating islands because, of course. And your game's about dragons, their caregivers, the found family, about 100 pages, 5 classes, 12 dragger species. It's a blending of the belonging outside, belonging role-playing game, Wander Home, and Fate Accelerated. So it's a storytelling, emotion punk, which isn't a word, a game about belonging and families and found family and making choices and riding dragons. From Legendary Games for Pathfinder, we have Arcforge Universe, sci-fi adventure for Pathfinder RPG. This ends March 21st. It's $50 for this one, and it's 600 pages of the Arcforge Universe setting, sci-fi, everything that they've combined over the last 6 years. So I think this is hardcore sci-fi. No, there's a picture of a wizard. So no, it's not hardcore sci-fi. It's sci-fantasy. Sci-fi adventures, chaos and corruption. So yeah, Pathfinder, science fantasy. But with sci-fi, there wouldn't be a wizard with a scroll or a knight or another wizard. It would just be guys with blasters. So it's sci-fantasy. And finally, from EN Publishing, we have the Planestrider's Journal for Level Up 5e, D&D 5e, or any other D20 game. This ends on April 4th. It's $40 for the PDFs, and it's for, D20. It's their take on the Planestrider, planescapey, multi-genre idea, going out into the chaotic rivers of the existential planes of existence and traveling between the plane of fire and the plane of string cheese and all the weird, chaotic, primordial horror that might exist there. And you can tell by the art here, you got a space spider and you got some guys fighting on a spaceship boat. Fighting a space spider, even the map looks like, wow, you didn't even... normally I respect everything that these guys do with Level Up 5e because they just keep putting this stuff out. Like I said, they're the Chad Gable of the 5e, competitors. They just put in the job, but they're never going to get out of the mid card, no matter how hard they try and no matter how hard we want them to, unfortunately. But they're the people's hero because they keep trying. They're the Chad Gable. They put on a good show. But this one, come on. The blatant references to Planescape. Space. That's a Neogi. Space Spider, Space Bow, even the circular map, the map to the planes in Planescape, Planestrider, whatever you call it, plain D&D, circular. So, yeah. But it's $40, so it's cheaper than either of the Gygax things. So with the two Gygax things out there, of course, it will cause much controversy about whether people think this is the legacy of Gygax. This is the legacy of Gygax. If Gygax's legacy ends with AD&D, how important this is or how unimportant this is. At least they're getting it out for the 50th. Even Luke is more saying, this is about the 50th anniversary than my dad, while Trollorge is just saying it took us a long time to get our hands on this stuff, so we're going to release it when we can. But they haven't really said anything about it connecting to the 50th, though they are connecting it to the 50th anniversary and their relationship with Gygax. I am not educated enough on Gygaxian politics, philosophy, nonsense to say how important or unimportant these products are in relationship to the Gygax's history with the hobby. There are people who are far, far more in tune to this subject than I am. I highly recommend you go check out their videos. Tanker over at Tanker's Tavern, DM Bloodworth over at Unscripted Unchained. There's plenty of other Gygaxian people who can tell you about where this ranks. Again, Chuck from Trollord Games, who reached out to me almost a month ago to see if I wanted to interview him. I still want to interview you, and I would love to talk about the World Builder's Guide as well as your relationship with the Gygax, where you think the Gygax legacy stands, as opposed to, say, the Secrets of Blackmoor stuff, the 5e stuff, the nonsense that comes out of Garaby's mouth, the other people who have sort of, turned Gygax into a saint, like the Bro SSR. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting topic that I think we're going to talk about. Which of these Kickstarters stands out to you if I was going to recommend one? Actually, maybe no, none of these really stand out to me. I mean, you would think this one would, but it just, no, and just, I feel like I'm just kicking, I appreciate Troll Lords so much, but this just feels so unnecessary. But I know there's other people who want this, so this one kind of sounds fun, but it also kind of sounds like something I've already seen. Clever, but I don't think there's a market. Dragon writing's been done. I don't know if there's a market. Again, I don't know. There already are Pathfinder fantasy space. It's called Starfinder. And this, just feels, I mean, it's probably better than the Wizards of the Coast, Planescape, Planestrider, Planeswalker. But it's the obvious, connection is there. It's like they didn't even fucking try. Anyways, that's it. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk about this product ever again, too bad. Because I'm going to keep talking about Wizards of the Coast until we hit that 2,000 mark. If I hit 2,000 subs by August 4th, 2024, I will stop talking about Wizards for the Ghost for at least a month, if not longer. So it's up to you to get me to stop talking about this and start talking about more important things like the product I made that you need to buy. Till next time, see ya.